All right, welcome everybody to conversation number 83, the TLC Mentorship Encore edition of the Mentorship Summit. This is part 2 with Marina and Georgiana. So welcome everybody. And before we get started, we want to do some thank yous, announcements, and reminders. First, let's do our thank yous to our sponsors. We want to thank Conductrix, who have been our sponsor from the very beginning. And they recently joined our TLC newsletter sponsors with EPO, Growth Book, AB Smartly. All 4 of them are sponsoring our TLC Connector newsletter. So if you all aren't already getting the newsletter, you can sign up. We also have Convert and Blazing Growth, who sponsor the community. So thank you all for your sponsorship. It makes everything possible with our nonprofit community. So thank you so much. Next up, why isn't it moving? I'll just click on the screen. Reminder, Experimentation Island registration is open. We just updated the website. Hopefully some of you got to see some of the new songs and the 3 new speakers, well, 2 speakers and 1 performer. Aaron and Tim have songs. These are their walk-on songs. Josh is a new performer who created the songs. He'll be singing the songs live. So it's pretty exciting. Content is really starting to add up, and we're really, really, really excited. So we also added the FAQ section, like I told y'all last time. And let's see, we have Alex and Lindsay and Josh were all added to the website. So bit.ly EI 2025. Why is it not going? There. Really, really, last time I told you it was last chance. This is the last chance. It starts Monday. We only have 2 spots left, but we do have 2 spots. If anybody wants to join, please do so. We actually lowered the price just a tiny bit. So if you're interested to fill those last 2 slots, AB Culture, that's your bit.ly. Jill had to reschedule her class, so you got lots of time now, but February 4th for Jill Quick's class. Now, the reason we're all here, Georgiana and wait, who's going first? I forgot. Georgiana. Okay. So Marina and Georgiana are going to, they conspired at Experimentation Elite. It was adorable. We drew numbers to see who would go first. And they conspired, they worked together to swap their original speaking slots because their content was very complimentary, let's say. And they realized that the way they wanted to speak made sense if they swapped their speaker order. But they were only given 10 minutes. And their content really made sense if it were longer. So today, we've given them more time. That's why there's only 2 of them today. And so their talks are excellent. They were excellent then. They're going to be even better today. I'm so excited to see what you all do with it. So with that, if y'all are ready, I'm going to hand it over to you, Georgiana.
Amazing. Thank you, Kelly.
Can't wait to see what you do with it.
Well, here we go. So yeah, I'm talking today about why I think we need to start talking about recruiting outside of the experimentation bubble. And actually, when you start talking about popping the bubble, in general, our industry is actually quite small when you think about it. What we do is fairly niche. I'm probably not the only one who, whenever I'm trying to describe my job to someone, I have to talk around it quite a bit and end up giving up about 10 minutes into the explanation. And that's because it is still fairly new and we get to the point where we start to know most people in the industry, which is making it a little bit harder to actually find those the diamonds in the rough, shall we say. So today I want to talk about why I think we need to start looking outside of the bubble and expanding when it comes to recruitment. So first of all, who am I? Why am I here talking to you today? A bit of background to how I got to where I am. I actually started off at university back in 2013. I started with a maths degree, and about a year and a half in, I realized it really wasn't for me, and I changed to social sciences because I realized I wanted to know about people, and I really enjoyed looking at what people are doing and why they were doing it, which kind of makes sense where I am now. In terms of my career, I started out in customer service for a very small edutech startup. And that was really where I started to get my first taste for what experimentation was before I even knew what it was. So I started looking at the emails we were getting and all the phone calls we were getting, and started making recommendations to the software developer, to the sales guys about how we could improve onboarding, how we could improve information that was on the website to reduce the amount of emails we got because we were getting all the same emails all the time. And that was when I started to get my first taste of experimentation. From there, I joined a really small, PPC agency where there was I think, a four-man CRO team, headed up by Ryan, who somebody may know, fantastic guy, actually, um, holding his own meetup next week. And that's where I got my first taste of what CRO, as it was called then, actually was. But I actually moved into a SaaS company after that, and it wasn't until 2020 I moved back into the sort of experimentation space. And with all of this, I've been both agency and in-house, and I now work for Creative CX. We're a specialist experimentation consultancy. The reason I'm telling you all this shows just how varied my own background has been. And actually, when I talk to people in the space, finding out about their own degrees and how they've got here, nobody has had this really smooth, very clean journey that you might see in other industries. Um, and that's actually what's inspired this talk. So back in March, I was lucky enough to go to the Women in Data conference. So this was not for experimentation, but for data. So I got to talk to a lot of really inspired women who work in data. That's data analysts, data scientists, graduates, people who are head of data, that kind of thing. So a whole array of experiences. And very few people, if any, actually heard of experimentation and knew what I was talking about when I was mentioning the things that I was doing in my job concerning data. And I just remember thinking, wow, all these people, all these amazing women would love working in experimentation if only they knew about it, if only we had some way to reach them and start bringing them into our world. Around the same time, as part of my role at Creative, we were working at a blog about women in experimentation. So I was getting to interview all these amazing women in experimentation and find out about their careers and their experiences. And through that, again, I found a story where nobody had this really clean journey. Nobody um, sort of came straight out of university and knew exactly what they wanted to do. And actually, almost everybody used a phrase, something along the lines of falling into experimentation or stumbling across it or finding it. And that's how I found it. And the fact that a lot of people find it that way, I think we need to start reaching out and actually helping more people fall into it from that aspect. And through this, I also met this amazing woman called Celeste, who is working at one of our clients. So Celeste actually used to be a teacher. So she taught maths for 20 years, or math, I should say. She's in Texas. She has taught math for 20 years and only recently moved into experimentation a couple of years ago. So she's now working for this large food company who I guarantee everybody's heard of. Um, Again, her own journey is she kind of fell into it. She was talking to somebody at a dinner party who thought that she was really interesting and kind of she clearly knew her stuff. She was interested in a change potentially. So pretty much just because of luck and because somebody was willing to take a chance on her, she was able to make that move into experimentation. She's very quickly, found her passion really. So she's now a senior data scientist. And I'm going to be talking to you a bit more about Celeste through this talk because she's so inspiring. And I think it's just a really great example of why we should be looking outside of this, our world of experimentation when it comes to finding people who will really benefit us and what we're looking for. So I there's so much to talk about. I'm just want to talk about 3 points today. So the first is this idea that theory can be taught. The second is why I think knowledge sharing is super beneficial and bringing in all those new skills. And finally, the fact that actually, for the most part, you're probably hiring as part of a team. So everything I say today is going to be relevant if you are hiring as part of a team. Obviously, if you're trying to hire one person to kickstart a program that doesn't exist, or you're trying to hire somebody very senior, you probably do need somebody who knows about experimentation and what they're talking about. But I'm more talking about if you're hiring somebody as part of an existing team or you have that infrastructure around you. So first of all, theory can be taught. What do I mean by this? When I try and break down experimentation, so when I'm trying to tell other people what I'm doing, or if I'm looking at CVs or that kind of thing, I think we can all agree there are a lot of different hats that we wear. So whether that is data analysis, critical thinking, being able to interpret results, but also things like creating documents and program management. So how do we get tests actually developed and built and up to a good standard? And how do we do that when we've got 5 different tests going on? And then it's also the creativity side of things. So actually, how do we turn all this data into test ideas and stakeholder management? How do we talk to people? So that there's so many different things going on. And we somehow have to sum all this up into a single job description, which is quite tricky. I think all of this, though, we can kind of put into 3 main areas, and that is we have our hard skills, our soft skills, and then the theory side of things. So your hard skills are things like your data analysis. Your soft skills are, can I go and talk to somebody who is C-level, and then an hour later go and talk to somebody who's a graduate, and being able to have good conversations with both of them. And then obviously you've got your theory. So what is an A/B test? What is an ABN? Does the scenario require a multivariate test or a multi-arm bandit? That kind of level. My argument is that of all these 3 different areas, theory is possibly the one that's easiest to teach someone. So when I think about these skills and how I pick them up personally, I think with the hard skills and soft skills, you can pick them up on any job almost. Obviously, there will be specifics to do with experimentation, but in general, something like time management, you'll pick up in any role. Simply putting together a presentation, or even critical thinking, are all things that you can find in other roles. I would also say they do take a bit longer to develop. So having somebody who has maybe a better grasp on the hard skills or soft skills might be more beneficial than somebody who really knows their theory but actually has had no time to put that into practice. Theory, things like creating documents and processes, I say they're fairly easy to teach someone. So I was creating test documents within my first week in the experimentation world because somebody gave me a template and said, this is the template, go and create this for this test. And with a lot of things, processes are already in place. So I think when it comes to recruitment, particularly thinking of somebody who's not already in the experimentation world, I would feel more confident teaching somebody this theory part than trying to teach somebody, say, the hard skills part. We also know there's a lot of excellent resources out there. So we have TLC, obviously, where we have this fantastic community. We have talks like this, which can really help. We have there are a whole array of online courses. So obviously there's a CXL Academy, there's Udemy, there's lots of amazing books like Erin's book, which Kelly helpfully showed us, but also, a whole array. I give my clients a whole reading list of books they can pick up. Things like LinkedIn articles. So there's so much content out there just to help with the theory side of things as well. So even if somebody had no theory, I think it's fairly easy to give them so much content to help them upskill. And this was the case when it came to Celeste. So Celeste, I asked her, very frankly, how long did she feel it took her to get up to speed with the theory side of experimentation, to actually understand the different concepts and be able to start applying it. So she admitted it took her about 6 months to upskill, but she felt that she was able to be useful from around 3 months. And actually, if we think about that, that's about the same time as the probation period for most jobs. So when you start a job, you have that 3 to 6 month where you are just getting up to speed with the company and the business and the goals and that kind of thing. So actually, that's not really outside the norm. She felt that as she was learning, she had all this content she was able to draw on. And then in terms of the skills and the other things she was having to do, she already had 20 years of experience to fall back on in terms of knowing how to do the basics, as it were. She also felt that as she was upskilling, she was actually even more helpful than she may have been if she'd already known knowledge, because she was able to learn sort of what best practice was saying and then apply that to what she was doing, but also ask questions that led to this reflection. So why weren't the company doing things in a certain way, which then led the company to rethinking what they were doing and thinking, oh, well, why aren't we doing that? It also meant that she was reading things that were really up to date. So, in the same way that doctors have to go through training to make sure they're up to date with, current medical progress, she was having that up to date knowledge of experimentation and the up to date theories, which meant she was able to bring new knowledge to the company from that perspective as well. And then finally, it meant that because she was constantly training and learning, she always had optimization at the front of her mind. And she said actually one of her proudest moments, the moment that made her feel like she really belonged, was she'd been brought into this quite important meeting about some sort of issue that was happening on the website, mainly just to observe. But actually, she suggested to them, well, why don't we use Optimizely to serve this quick fix while we're getting it fixed in the back end, knowing that the back end was going to take a while. And that was when she felt that actually, okay, I do belong here. I know what I'm talking about. And that was within that first 6 months when she was just learning. So hopefully, this kind of emphasizes that idea that maybe those sort of theoretical skills are much easier to pick up than we think. Kind of on that note, then, of sharing this knowledge, I want to talk about this idea of how this can lead to new insights as well. So, as I mentioned, Celeste was a teacher, so she did bring some of her teaching knowledge into the experimentation world as well, because she was able to highlight kind of different ideas and theories from that maths perspective because she was a maths teacher. Um, and I also think back to whenever we run ideation sessions, certainly internally and with my clients, I always try and encourage a lot of different teams to be present. So we always say as many different backgrounds in that room, so different skill sets, you're going to get a lot more ideas. And I think that's the same when it comes to experimentation, whereas it'll get to a point where we're all thinking the same thing and we're not bringing anybody new in. So actually bringing new ideas can be really refreshing and it can bring new perspectives that I think are very valuable. So just going back to this slide here, so I've mentioned these hard skills, soft skills, and then experimentation theory and how we can see them across this whole range of roles. But actually, I think there is something missing here, and that is we're missing the idea of other role-specific skills. So skills that we may not necessarily think to seek out when we're talking about experimentation, that you may build and be valuable in other roles that actually could be really valuable to experimentation. We just maybe haven't thought about it yet. So some examples here of roles which may have hidden skills, data analyst. Naturally, when I think data analyst, I think, well, they can definitely bring pre and post test analysis to the table and be able to tell a story with that data. But then I'm not necessarily thinking about the fact that they could do modeling and actually help with identifying areas of opportunity. They may also be very familiar and comfortable with using larger and alternative data sets to uncover that opportunity. So they may be more willing to dig into something like SQL or a data warehouse to find some opportunities that maybe we otherwise wouldn't think about. Similarly with UI designer, they've got great creative problem thinking. They've got great expertise with best practice and working together with people, but they also have a really keen insight into user psychology and this really good attention to detail that I frankly do not have. And then finally, Celeste, as a teacher, she has fantastic critical thinking and research. She knows she can learn, but also what's really key, she's got this fantastic program management, stakeholder engagement. So when you think about a teacher, I'm thinking about the fact she's having to plan all these lesson plans for a whole range of ages and make sure everybody's on track. She's also having to balance things like parents' evening and PTAs. And with the stakeholder thing, she explained to me how 1 minute she'd be talking to the headmaster, and the next second she'd be talking to a kid who's crying in her classroom, and having to almost context shift very quickly. So she's already got these things that actually she was able to bring to the table straight away in her new role when it came to talking to those C-levels and also talking to colleagues and managing this huge program in terms of roadmaps and making sure that everything was working okay. That actually hadn't even occurred to her before I asked her that those were skills she'd picked up as a teacher. Something else she explained, which is actually very close to my heart as well, and I know it's close to yours, Kelly, is this idea of being able to help and train others. as well. So this is something that I do as somebody who works with clients. I have to explain concepts to them. If you're in-house, you have to, the idea is we want to get more people in the company involved, and trying to explain terms like experimentation can be quite tricky sometimes. So Celeste found that actually, because she already had that, she knew how to teach the kids, she found it quite easy to start going out and explain experimentation in the wider company and trying to get rolled out a bit more there, which I thought was obviously fantastic. And it was something that had been missing in the company until that point. Also meant she had this awareness of the different learning styles, so not everybody learns the same. So she was able to mold her message slightly as well. So not just with training, but also with the way she was presenting information and data, she was able to understand her audiences and adjust accordingly. So going back again, think about different types of experience and where we can get them from. I think also, if we think about hiring as part of a team, you may already have these fantastic data analysts in your team, and you might have somebody who's a real whiz when it comes to roadmaps and Gantt charts, but maybe you don't have somebody in there who's really comfortable talking to lots of different audiences, or maybe you don't have somebody who's really comfortable doing training programs and that kind of thing. And that's where maybe thinking about hiring outside the bubble can really be beneficial in building up that really nice round team. So you're not looking for one person to fill every gap. You're just looking for to one person to fill that part as a member of the team. And that kind of brings me to my final point here, which is everything I've spoken about has been around this idea that you're not hiring one person to do everything. You're hiring one person to be part of a team and help you where maybe you could use some a bit of boosting. So we're probably not hiring in this vacuum. So these are my 3 questions to ask when the next time you're looking to recruit, or you know that you've got a job opening. I'm going to challenge you to not just put on some sort of job description that you must have a certain level of experience, and actually start thinking about these questions. So first of all, why might they need certain knowledge up front? Is there anything that they can't pick up on the job? So as I've explained, with the theory side of things, it's quite easy to pick things up or give people templates. So is there anything that they do really need to know up front, and can they go and learn that before they start? Also think about what's already in place. If you've already got a program running, again, it's very easy for somebody to come in and pick it up. So actually, do you need somebody who knows all that knowledge already? Can things run self-sufficiently until they're able to pick that up? And as part of that, think about who you've already got in place. Do you already have a team that can support them, fill the gaps until they're up to speed? If it's not an optimization team, what other teams have you got available in the company? So have you already got an analytics team who can help out while somebody's maybe learning about the type of analysis they should be doing? And also think about upskilling. Have you got people in place who can help train? So you could give them, access to CXL, for example, but do you have somebody who's willing to sit with them and explain certain concepts and really help them upskill? And again, rely on the teams you already have in place. So your analyst teams, your UX teams, all this existing resource you have in your company who can help sort of train this person up, as long as they've got sort of the hard and soft skills you're really looking for. And this sort of combination is what Celeste also credits for her own success, is the fact that she was given the time to learn the theory, pick up everything without the pressure of having to make sure everything was going straight away, because they did have a team in place who were able to run things until she was up to speed. She was able to sit with the analytics team and they were able to help her as well. Which is why she said that she was able to get up to speed as quick as she did. It's also the fact that Eddie was so supportive, so there wasn't as much pressure on her as well. And she was able to give back because, as a maths teacher, she was fine with data. So once she understood what was being asked, she was then able to help with the data side more while she was then building up the rest of her skills. So finally, this is what I'd like to ask, which is the next time you're looking to hire, don't arbitrate experience. So think very clearly about why you're looking for a certain amount of experience and try and break that down. So instead of saying like 3 years experience, think about what you're actually looking for. Think about the role as part of a team rather than a standalone person, and think about what the team is looking for. And then finally pop the bubble, start getting out there, start thinking about what other roles, where else you could start looking for people to join your team who might have the skills which could be useful for you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Great job.
So pass over to Marina now.
I just love your talk, Georgie. I was listening to the extended version, especially because I heard both of them, and I kept thinking every single agency needed to have a teacher in their team. Because what you
Yes.
said, we teachers help little kids who've never experienced the world understand such complex things. If we had one of these per team, the big C levels would finally understand what experimentation is. It's incredible.
I do indeed find a lot of sea levels are like children. You're right.
Yeah.
I did write that over in I said, you heard it here. Georgiana just said stakeholders equal kids and they're equally hard to teach.
They are indeed. This is why I agree. This is why I found Celeste so inspiring. And if you spend 5 minutes in a room with her, you will be inspired as well, because her journey and her story, I think, just really emphasizes that you could be in our world, our experimentation world, you could do anything beforehand, and you'll have such amazing skills that you can apply in some way, because what we do is so varied. And yeah, the whole point of my talk is I really want to get out there and get more people into our world and start looking for people outside of our bubble rather than always sort of having this little circle inside, which I think
Yeah.
leads really nicely into your talk, Marina, which I'm very excited about as well.
Yes. Um, the First of all, does anyone have any questions for Georgie? Otherwise, I can start.
Oh,
No?
we're going to do questions in the middle. We can do that. I was going to hold them till the
Okay, so maybe I start and then we spicy. We keep questions in the end.
Yeah. If y'all have questions, type them over in the TLC calls channel, and then we'll do all questions for both speakers at the end. Questions, compliments, all of the above.
Perfect. So now let's start on part 2. And I love that my presentation comes right after Georgiana's. Again, like Kelly said, our presentations just complement each other perfectly. Now let's think of another side of diversity. So Georgie gave us an incredible background on how diverse people, professionally speaking, bring an extra pizzazz into our role. And now in this presentation, in the second version of the presentation, I focused in some data, because I want us all not only to end this week with this feeling of how diversity is awesome, because it is, but also to understand the problem that we currently have right now. And then on Monday, we can start fresh. So first of all, happy Friday, everyone. My name is Marina. I'm a project manager at AWA Digital. I'm Brazilian Polish. Keep this in mind, because this is the first thing in my presentation, because this is what a Brazilian day looks like every single day. We are absolutely this meme, because every day we have to deal with political crisis, educational crisis, financial crisis, public safety crisis, health crisis, environmental catastrophes, and this is fine somehow. I mean, not exactly fine, of course, but it is what it is. We have to deal with the fact that Brazil is constantly having all sorts of crises all around, and we don't have any saying on these. These are completely external to us. So we have to find our way to be creative, to think outside the bubble, now quoting Georgie, and see how we can make the best with the situation we're in. And this is very interesting, because this not only makes us a peculiar culture compared to others, this also makes us a very peculiar type of client. Um, right now, I'm working with this product, and no one was expecting it to be famous in Brazil, but it is. People love the product in Brazil, and people were engaging a lot with it. But at the same time that engagement was high, the ROI of the product was low. And they couldn't understand because in other countries, Europe, North America, when people like something, they tend to buy more of that. And they couldn't understand why. They had an absolute blind spot. And because I was Brazilian, I was able to pitch in and say, team, we're Brazilian. We don't like to pay for stuff. We don't have that much money to keep paying for stuff. We are going to use it until it's free, until we can't no more. So this very little piece of advice helped them understand that the engagement they were seeing was actually true. It wasn't bots. It was just Brazilian behavior. We engage, but we don't buy. And this removed this huge blind spot for them. And I was only able to bring that because I was a diverse person in the room and I happen to be Brazilian. And that's what diversity is. Understanding diversity is learning from different points of view, is looking outside your bubble and looking at the world outside of your own reality. And why am I telling you this? This is something super important for me. I tell you this because I care, because I'm a diverse person all the time. And people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I'm a proud Brazilian who became Polish. I live in Poland without speaking Polish. I'm a neurodivergent. I am a former lawyer who also just ended up in CRO, and I was not planning for this. And this background is what makes me different from my team. And this is what sometimes helps me see everything differently. So I have a question that you don't need to understand if you don't want. If you want, feel free to answer in the chat. But I want to ask you this. Do you consider your team to be diverse? Think about it. Take it into the weekend with you. Let's discuss why this question is important. Let's conceptualize what diversity is. The practice of quality of diversity is involving people from different backgrounds, ethnicities, genders, ages, sexual orientation, people with disabilities. And this is the act of diversity. This is the fact of diversity. People are different, and that's what makes us one humanity. And basically, you're diverse whenever you don't fit into the status quo. So at that point in my work, I was diverse because I was Brazilian. I'm always diverse because I have ADHD and my brain just doesn't work. And it is what it is. And we can choose to have diversity as a bad thing, or we can choose to have it as a superpower. And I'm here to show you why you should do the second one. And why should we care about it? TLC is an experimentation group, is a product, a research, tech, in the tech side of things. Because when teams that are developing technology lack diversity, the products that they create unintentionally reflect those biases and blind spots, like the story I told you before. But I'm going to tell you another story, even more interesting. When the creators of voice recognition started working in that product, they didn't really think that people that come from different countries have different accents. So they had a huge problem to understand other types of English. Scottish English, for example, was just understood with 50% accuracy. And at that point, in that specific moment when they were thinking about it, if one person stopped and thought, wait, will a Chinese speaking English be understood? This would have been solved. But Marcelo just mentioned Craig's staring at Siri enough to know this is true. This is true, and it's true until this day. And this is why it's the confirmation bias we all talk about. They think they are right. They think their product is perfect because none of them are outside their own bubble. And that's what happens when we lack diversity. If you don't have diversity, you probably have a biased hypothesis in the first place. And then you end up with a non-inclusive test or research, which causes inaccurate results in what you're doing. And consequently, you end up with superficial insights. And that's the one thing we have to avoid at all costs. And diversity is a very strong point for us to avoid it. So let's take a step back. Before I start selling diversity to you, of course, after Georgiana already did a huge part of the job, I want to show you how diversity currently is for us. There is this charter called the Tech Talent Charter in the UK. They have been doing a diversity report ever since 2019 until this year. So I got this year's charter and I brought some interesting information for you. This is what diversity in the UK in tech looks like in 2024. Only 29% of tech workers identify as women or non-binary. Only 3% of all employees have disclosed to their employers that they're neurodivergent. And only 9% of these workers come from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. So here comes the first controversy. There are a few. I chose two to discuss with you today. The first controversy is that in this research that was driven with 500 tech workers, 53% of them said that they're neurodivergent. However, only 5.7% of these 500 workers reported having this neurodivergence to their employers. And now we have to think, what is stopping them from sharing something this important? Speaking as someone who is neurodivergent, any type of way your brain works differently makes your whole life is different. We have things that are harder for us, but we're actually much better in some parts. So now speaking from personal experience, if you tell your team that you have ADHD, instead of them looking at you as, oh yeah, they're hyperactive and they're never going to be able to finish a project, they should actually think, yeah, but this person will hyper focus. So we just need to find the thing they're really interested about. And that's what I do with my job. I love my job, so I'm always hyper focusing. And that's why I was able to tell my coworkers that I have ADHD. So I'm not part of the statistics, but most of us are. And what's stopping them? So now let's answer this question. Prejudice. There's no other answer. Neurodivergence, invisible disabilities such as borderline, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, or any of these things, they're full of taboo. And this is one of the big controversies we have to work with, especially in the century where we have so many mental health issues in our society. And now let's discuss the second problem. Now I already brought the bad news. So let's bring the second bad news. The gender gap may increase in technology. And why? According to this research, 29% of women that are working in tech, which is good, is more than average. However, 1 in 3 women are actually considering or planning to leave their role in tech. And this itself is very bad, but we have to look beyond the symptom. We have to look for the cause. And 3 main causes were discussed in this report. First one, the cost of living crisis. It's very hard to be a woman that receives less money to do the same job and live in a country that is very expensive. The second one, women usually don't have as much transparency in their career progression, so they don't really know where they're going and they don't get excited about their future. And of course, work-life balance. I believe everyone here knows, but I'm going to say it either way. A woman's job doesn't stop after 5. A woman has a full shift from 9 to 5, and then from 5 to 9, sometimes they have to be psychologists for their children. They have to be nannies. They have to be nurses. They have to clean the house, make food, and that's full workload as well. So finding balance for these women sometimes is very hard. And without having a lot of benefits, they don't have a reason to stay. So basically, after throwing you these 2 bombs on a Friday afternoon, we're not diverse enough, and we need to work on that. These surveys help us understand the source of the problem, and it's on us to stop this trend. Why and how can we turn diversity from a disability, from a taboo, into a superpower? There are research on the benefits of diversity. I brought 3 main items to share with you today. The first of one, a diverse team has much better capacity to solve problems in an incredible way. And why is that? Because you get different people who came from different backgrounds, who have different ways of, who have different trains of thought, and you put them together to solve a puzzle, to leave escape room, or to interpret data. Each one of the people in the room will connect the dots differently. If you put them all together, the dots will be much more structured than if you just put it in one person's hand. Nonetheless, you also have more creative ideas. Again, put a lot of people in the same room and let them talk. They're gonna go completely outside of the box because each one of those people have different ways to see the world, because reality is a kaleidoscope, and every one of those people in their own diversity are looking from a different angle, and they see the world in a different way. If we work together, we can be the next Einstein. And the last one is, if you have a diverse team, you're probably multi-skilled. And by that I mean you have people that had to learn different hard and soft skills to be where they are today. So if you put those people with different levels of hard and soft skills and potentially teaching each other, like Georgie mentioned in her presentation, you're going to have a potentialized amount, almost like a geometric progression of skills. And that's so incredible. That's a power that we cannot lose. So this is a quote from Stephen Covey that I really wanted to bring. We have many ways to explain the benefits of diverse team, but Stephen Covey explained everything. Strength lies in differences, not in similarities. If we all think the same, we don't think. So, okay. Again, this is an experimentation event. This is an experimentation conversation. What's in it for me? Why should I care about this? I'll tell you. I'm bringing now 2 specific ways that you can apply diversity in your work today, no matter where you are in experimentation or product. First one, bias awareness. Diverse teams are much more likely to be aware and take into consideration those biases and blind spots in that interpretation and an ideation, and this will lead to more accurate conclusions and better optimization strategies and ideas. This way, your experimentation program as a whole is going to be much stronger. And to show you a specific example on bias awareness, separate from the one to voice recognition, Lucia van der Brink mentions in her CXL masterclass the story about the lefty that changed YouTube. If you haven't heard the story, it's a very cool one. Over a decade ago, YouTube was having serious issues with a small but very important amount of people who kept uploading their videos upside down. And no one could figure out the problem until a person who's left-handed decided to chip in. Since the team was mostly right-handed, they didn't realize that left-handed people hold the phone differently when recording horizontally. So I have my phone here and I'm going to show this to you. If you're right-handed, you're going to turn your phone and the camera will be on top. But if you're left-handed, when you turn your phone, it's going to be on the bottom. And this was the reason why videos were being recorded, were being uploaded upside down. And this is a classic example of how even a tiny diverse trait can make a huge change in a team performance and their creative thinking. If that person were in the room when they first thought of this in this feature, this wouldn't have passed. And besides this incredible idea of these tiny changes in bias awareness, we can also discuss about user segmentation. Diverse teams are much more likely to identify and segment users based on a broader range of characteristics, which will lead you to a more personalized and effective strategy. And of course, personalization is the big buzzword in CRO, but it's still important because personalization is also optimization. And it's important for us to think about this to provide better content and better features for our clients. And then you may ask me, if that's important, why don't I just keep in touch with my customer? And I'll tell you that you should keep both. Because if you have contact with your customer, you are able to understand the pains that they have right now. But if you have a diverse team, your team will be able to predict the pains that your user will have in the future. And you're going to be much more prepared for when they happened. But is diversity always good? That's the big question for today. In short, yes. However, a diverse team also needs to be strategic. And I used this example once and I'm going to use it again. Would you hire a vegan to work in a meat company? I wouldn't. And not because I don't love the vegans. I love them. They absolutely rock. But a vegan has an ethical conflict against the company they're working with. And because of that, they're never going to be able to give them all they're not going to be able to give their all their potential into that job because of this ethical issue. So when we're talking about diversity, we should go past the idea of a diversity hire and actually think of someone who's actually cultural fit. So someone who meets the criteria to be a good employee, but sometimes the best candidate doesn't have the hard skills, don't have some of the soft skills. But this, as Georgiana already mentioned, can be taught. But and sometimes, even if the person doesn't have these specific strategies, they have this specific diverse trait that can make them the perfect fit, because diversity adds the pizzazz in a person. So if you decide to move into diversity and actually be part of this cause, you have superpowers. You'll be a hero. And your superpowers can be creating better hypotheses, having a systemic view of the world, providing more high quality research and ideas, have less blind spots and biases on things that you're working with, and having better strategies in a whole. So basically, with diversity, you can make your program stronger. After all, the more diverse ideas we have in experimentation, the better. And if you don't believe me, you can just test it. So now let's go to the end of this, and I would love for you to think about this over the weekend and next week when you get back to work. What should you do next? What can you do to think of diversity in your team? 2 ideas. On Monday morning, look inside your team, look around you, and try to find these superpowers that are already present. You have a Gen Zer, you have a boomer, you have a neurodivergent, you have a woman. These people can and will bring a different perspective into your job. And that's a power that cannot be taken from them. And when you're hiring for someone new, try to find people who can bring a different perspective into the mix. Don't hire inside the box, but also don't do the diversity hire. Try to look for that pizzazz. And there are plenty of people that can discuss, even in the TLC group. We can always help each other to find this best person. I could talk about this forever. My capabilities of babbling are endless, but let me know. I just saw Kelly laughing. Let me know in the chat if you have any questions. Connect with me on LinkedIn for us to continue this discussion. And I hope you all have an incredible evening.
I love the extension. You all both did a great job extending your talks. Thank you both so very, very much. I just want to point out the one comment about hiring a vegan for the meat company is a very valid one, which is if they applied to work in the meat industry, maybe they feel the job is for them. And you don't really know why they applied unless you interviewed them. And also, you wouldn't know they were a vegan.
100%. They have to tell you that they're a vegan for they to know. And I agree with you, Irvin. This was actually my mother's concern on this point of my presentation from the first time. She said, like, you shouldn't talk about vegans. It's not a good idea. If they applied, if it's because they want to work. And I agree, some people are able to do the separation. I'm a vegan in my life, but I can work whenever. Sometimes people don't have the option to choose. But mostly, like Kelly said, it's most likely an act of activism. And sometimes, eventually, this ethical conundrum will show up. And then it's going to be a much more complicated situation for everyone.
So some people are vegans for health reasons and not for activism reasons, though. So, I mean, you just don't know. So it's always good to one of the best. So we were in a situation where a group of hiring managers were talking about a group of candidates, and one of the candidates that was the most qualified was actively, obviously pregnant. And one of the men in the group said, we need to take into consideration there's a lot of travel required for this role. And I knew it bothered me, but I didn't know why it bothered me. Because I thought, oh, he's being really thoughtful because she's a mom and she's going to need to, be, nursing and da da da. And part of me was like, well, that's thoughtful. But the other part of me was bothered by it, and I didn't know why. And my friend and colleague at the time, and Val Kroll, who was one of the other hiring managers, sat beside me and said, no, she applied. She knew exactly what the role required. You don't know what her situation is. And she wouldn't have applied for a job that requires 80% travel if she didn't have this handled. We are not allowed to take that into consideration, and neither can you. And I'm proud to say we hired her. So that is the kind of thing to consider. Yes, diversity matters, and we need more moms.
Absolutely. I keep telling, so personal background, our mom, Mia Jones, she decided to stop working just to raise us. And she raised two overachiever, very intelligent, very
Very
weird
much
kids.
so overachievers.
Yeah, she's incredible. But she stopped for 20 years. And ever since she started and finished 3 different bachelors and 2 postgraduates, something like that. My mom
I
works.
love that.
Yeah, she studies like crazy. And she's always worried that because she stopped, no one wants to hire her. But she actually raised 2 human beings who
What's your
managed.
mom's name?
Casey.
Casey?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Good job, Casey.
Yes. Oh, Mama Strowski is amazing, really. I'm teaching her English for you to know her as well. And she managed to do that. And I
Yes.
want the world to see her as a mom who did an incredible work for 20 years.
That's
And now
right.
she's back. We need to hire more moms.
We need to
Look at
hire
all the
more people that
transferable
take,
skills.
yeah,
So many transferable
Yes.
skills.
so many,
Yes.
so many.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, I need to remind everybody, our next couple of talks are privacy by design and A/B testing with Matt Gershoff. That one just dropped in. We all love Matt Gershoff. We all love being Matt Gershoff, which is, the act of, getting educated to the point that you're more confused than you were. And then all of a sudden it all makes sense. So that's going to happen Friday, October 11th. And then we're going to talk unlocking success, empowering your organization and career through data literacy with Joe Miskovich. And then the Emperor Has No Clothes, misleading narratives on cookies and consent with Jen Kuntz. So October 11th, 25th, and December 13th. And I'm sure we'll have a November 1 drop in there in between at some point. So have a wonderful weekend. Great job, Georgiana and Maria. Really, really appreciate everything. The recording will be uploaded later today for everybody to share. Have a great weekend. Bye all.
Enjoy the weekend, everyone. Lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kelly.